How's everyone doing? I'm back here again for week 3 of my October Horror Fest video series, and this video is going to be better than my last video that I did last week because last week I only watched 3 movies and this week I watched 8. So I'm actually pretty surprised I was able to watch 8 movies. Most of these movies are ones that I watch every year and I've already talked about, but I was able to watch one movie that I hadn't seen before. I've been trying to watch a few movies this month that I hadn't seen before. It's just kind of hard with I don't have as much time because of work, and I'm trying to watch all the movies that I watch every year. I'm trying to make that a priority, but I am trying to watch a few movies that I hadn't seen before, and I was able to watch one movie which I will talk about later on. But yeah, guys, like I said, I was able to watch 8 movies, which is really cool. A lot of these movies are movies that I've already seen, so I'm not going to talk a whole lot about them, but I do want to mention them and I do want to talk or say a few things about them. So let's go ahead and get started. And the first movie that I saw is a movie that I saw back when I was very, very young, and this was always a really fun a movie to me, and that is 13 Ghosts. I really enjoyed this movie. I remember when I first saw this movie, I really loved the house. I remember just really loving, the cool, the see-through house and everything, the glass. And I still think this is a really fun movie. And I also really like the effects in it. My favorite, probably death scene in the movie is when the lawyer gets like cut right in half with the sliding door. I always thought that scene was so cool. But yeah, 13 Ghosts, it's just a fun movie, and it's one that I always enjoy going back to every year. Now this next movie, I'm not going to talk too much about it. I'm just going to show it and then move on because I know that, now there's a lot of controversy around these movies, but I did watch the first Jeepers Creepers. I remember when I first saw it, I was really creeped out by it, and I do think that this is still a really good and well-made horror film. But like I said, I know, those things went on with the director, and I'm not gonna get into that. Now, the next movie I watched is an independent movie that I watch every year, and that is Sleepy Hollow High. And this one is I've talked about this before. This movie is based about the legend of Sleepy Hollow. It has nothing to do with the Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci film. But I've always enjoyed this one. It is a low budget horror movie, but it takes place on Halloween. It takes place out in the woods, and it's got a great October feel. And it's just one that I always just another one I like to go back to. I have heard some people say that they've been when I talk about this movie, I see some people comment on it saying they've never heard of it, and I'm hoping that some people would check it out because it is like I said, it is an independent movie. So when you see it, don't expect it to be anything amazing. But I really think it's a fun Halloween horror movie. So yeah, check that out if you're interested, and I recommend looking it up. I don't recommend watching the trailer because the trailer makes it look like something else than it really is. But now I'm going to talk about a movie that I haven't seen, and this was a movie I've been wanting to check out for a long time, and that is Tales of Halloween. And this is a horror anthology that takes place on Halloween, and it's got 10 different stories from 10 different directors. Oh, one of the directors on here is Dave Parker, and there's also who else? Lucky McKee, Mike Mendez. Just a few names that some people might recognize. And this is a really good one. Basically, it's just 10 stories that are intertwined that take place on Halloween, and they're all about just cool different stories. They're about 2 to 3 minutes each, and they're all really interesting and really fun. This also has Adrienne Barbeau from you might mostly recognize her from The Fog, and she plays a radio DJ in this movie, and she sort of narrates throughout the whole movie, which I thought was really cool. This also has Lynn Shay in one of the films, and she's right there on the back. And yeah, this is just a really fun Halloween horror anthology, and it's one that I definitely recommend. I really enjoyed Bad Seed was one of my favorites. I also liked Friday the 31st. It's kind of like a Friday the 13th sort of type of homage, but it also has an alien in it, which is cool. And there was a few other good ones. This Means War. Sweet Tooth, which is the first one. Trick, there's a lot of good short stories in this that I enjoyed. But yeah, if you're looking for a new Halloween themed horror anthology, I recommend checking Tales of Halloween out. And now the next one is another Halloween horror anthology, but I'm pretty sure everybody knows this one, and that is Trick or Treat. I loved this movie when it first came out, and I still do. I think this movie has, it has one of the best Halloween feels, fall feels of any horror film, and I absolutely love this movie, and I think that Sam has become a new horror icon, and I do think that this has become a horror classic, I think. But I'm pretty sure everyone's seen this, but yeah, really enjoy this one. Alright, now next one is one of my all-time favorite horror films. I remember when I first saw this movie really creeped me out when I first saw it, and that is Sleepy Hollow from Tim Burton with Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci. This is the 10th anniversary digibook. I don't know if that many people know about this release. I did do an unboxing of this release for anyone who wants to check it out. I did watch the Blu-ray in this, and the Blu-ray is actually the same as the one on the regular release. They didn't do anything new as far as for the Blu-ray. They even have, even at the beginning of the Blu-ray, they talk about Paramount or whatever, the HD, like they're talking about how Blu-ray is like a new thing. So it's not even it's the same Blu-ray, unfortunately, but it is a pretty cool digibook. And like I said, I've done a video talking about this, but yeah, this movie has just an amazing October and fall feeling. It's not really a fall or October movie. I think you can watch it anytime. I'm actually planning on maybe watching this again in November because it's just got a good you don't have to watch it in fall time, but the atmosphere of this movie is amazing, and I've always loved this, and of course Johnny Depp, Christina Ricci, everybody is great in this, and the Headless Horseman. I remember after I watched this movie, I was like obsessed with the Headless Horseman, and then we watched The Legend of Sleepy Hollow in school, which I really enjoy, and I also have another animated film called Night of the Headless Horseman, and I kind of went through a phase where I just loved like the Headless Horseman. But yeah, just really good. Just absolutely amazing film, and this digibook actually does have the original story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, from Washington Irving, which I did. Like I said, I've done an unboxing of that where I went through all the pages. So if you guys want to check that video out, for those who haven't seen it. So anyway, guys, back down to my last two movies. Now, as I said in the first video, I'm watching all the Halloween films in reverse order, so I'm going to be ending October, by watching Halloween on Halloween. And so this week I watched Halloween 5 and Halloween 4. First one I watched was Halloween 5. Now, this one has always been my least favorite out of the original 8 films. Now, last year I watched this movie and I enjoyed it more than I had in a long time that I've ever had. There was just something about it that I just really I didn't love it, but I enjoyed it more than I had ever enjoyed it last year. Well, I rewatched it again this year, and I just didn't really enjoy it as much as last year. It's still my least favorite, but I do think this movie gets a lot of hate than it deserves. Now, don't get me wrong, there are things about this movie that really bothers me. The main thing is Tina. I'm not a fan of that character. I know a lot of people see her as like a comic relief character. I personally find her really annoying, and I really wish that they would have just kept Rachel alive. Because Rachel was she was the fan favorite. She is one of my favorite characters, especially in 4, and I really wish that they would have just kept her alive. I'm not a fan of the Tina character. I have other reasons other than just I find her annoying. I also hate that she leaves. She leaves Jamie when Jamie's first being able to talk, and she's just leaving her just to go party. I always hated her for that reason. And there are other things. Of course, that the house doesn't look right. And also, with the big tower type thing or whatever, and also Michael's mask. I don't hate Michael's mask in Halloween 5. I think that if they didn't have the neck so long, I think it would have looked better. Um, but yeah, Halloween 5 has always been my least favorite of the original 8 movies, and, you know, there are things about it I don't like, but there are also things about it that I do like. I think it does have a really good Halloween atmosphere, and I think that Michael is really dark and really brutal in this one. I think in 4, 5, and 6, I think he's a lot more brutal than he was in the first two films, especially in 6. I think he's really brutal in 6, but he's brutal in this one as well, which I do like. So I mean, there are things about it that I do like. I mean, I don't hate or dislike any of the Halloween movies, but Halloween 5 is definitely my least favorite of the original 8 movies. And the last movie that I watched, and this is actually one of my favorite sequels, Halloween 4. I love this movie. Now I know that, of course, The Mask. I'm not a huge fan. I actually don't hate The Mask in Halloween 4, but of course I wish it looked like it did on the poster. I absolutely love this poster of, you can just, half of Michael's face and you see the house, behind him and you see him walking. I love the poster for Halloween 4. But this one is always been one of my favorites. I love it has a great Halloween feel, especially at the beginning. It's got a great October feeling when you see, the scarecrow in the beginning and the opening credits. I like how they brought Michael back. It makes sense. He's been in a coma for 10 years, and he's been waiting for, his niece Jamie to get to his, to find out about her, because he gets, whoever is in I forget the character's name that's in the ambulance, or when they're transporting him, and he mentions that Michael has a niece, and I'm sure that Michael didn't know about her until he mentions her right there, and then he goes after her. And it makes sense that he's been in a coma for so long, since he was on fire, in Halloween 2, and I really like the Jamie Lloyd character. I really do, and I really wish that Halloween 5, I wish they hadn't made her mute, because I feel like that she was such a great character in Halloween 4, and I wanted to see more from her. And you do see her more in Halloween 5, and there are some great moments in Halloween 5, like especially when, Michael's chasing her in the house. I just wish that she wasn't mutant in 5, but 4 I love. I also, like I mentioned, I love Rachel. I think she was a great character, and I wish that she would have, I wish that they would have brought her back for 5 and had her in the movie, in 5. I wish that they would have killed Tina off early and had Rachel, been in 5 more. But I also love the rooftop scene in Halloween 4, when she's dangling off, and, he tries to, and she falls off the roof and everything. And I also think Donald Pleasance is great in Halloween 4. I think that he sort of comes back, and he's trying to save this little girl from Michael, from her uncle, the Uncle Boogeyman. There's also that scene in Halloween 4 when all the kids are teasing her, Jamie's uncle's the Boogeyman, and she's being teased by it, which of course, the way kids are, if you find out that, if a little girl is, her uncle was the boogeyman, unfortunately she's going to be bullied. That's just how it is. But I loved Halloween 4. It's definitely one of my favorites. It's always been one of my favorites in the series, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed watching it. Again, I always enjoy going back to it. But anyway, guys, that is it. Those are all the movies that I watched this past week. Like I said, 8 movies. I mean, that was really good for a week. I was so glad that I was able to watch them. I actually watched 3 movies yesterday. I actually watched Trick or Treat, Sleepy Hollow, and Halloween 4 on one day. So I had like a marathon of horror movies. So yeah, really happy with all the movies I was able to watch. And I'm also glad I was able to watch Tales of Halloween, because I'd never seen it before, and I thought it was really fun. And I do recommend checking it out if you're looking for a new Halloween. Well, it's not new, but it is but if you're looking for like a new Halloween themed horror anthology, I definitely recommend checking out Tales of Halloween. But anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think about all the movies that I watched in this video. And as always, if you guys want to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or join my movie collecting Facebook group, links to those will be down in the description box below. I hope everyone's doing great, and I'll see you guys in the next video.